Tommy's is 61 years old?
61.
61 years old. What was it like growing up in that restaurant?
Well, I got to tell you, honestly, I didn't like it at all because, as a very, very little boy, we had a jukebox at Tommy's, and I was in love with the jukebox, and I would go to the restaurant. I had no idea there was a restaurant. I just knew, oh my God, there's this jukebox.
This is the place for music.
Exactly. And I would put on music and I would dance I wasn't even tall enough to look at the selections, right? I knew the numbers of the songs that I liked. But anyway, so I would be dancing in front of this jukebox, and I have no idea if they're customers or not. But then someone actually commented one day that I think I was a shitty dancer, and it traumatized the shit out of me. And I became really, really sensitive, and I stopped dancing, and I would listen to music, but by myself, and quote unquote dance myself,
Like dancing in the shower kind of thing.
but it really fucked me up for the good 20 years.
Oh, that's so sad. I mean,
Yeah, it was weird, traumatizing.
but it might be to our benefit. Otherwise, maybe you've gone into a career in dance rather than bartending.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster. So yeah, maybe. But I also remember, as a child growing up in a immigrant restaurant of first generation Americans, or as immigrant Americans, and being a first generation American, doing all the menial tasks that you have to do. I mean, I swear to God, the task that I loathed the most was cleaning beans. So we're a Mexican restaurant. We go through a lot of at this time, even though we were from the Yucatan, and the tradition is to eat the black bean. We were a more commercialized Mexican restaurant because that's what the public wanted. We tried introducing our cuisine and it failed, right? People had never seen black beans. They don't eat things with banana leaves, whatever. So we're making traditional Mexican food, and the beans come in 50-pound sacks, but they're not cleaned. So there's dirt, there's pebbles, and you do that by hand, and it takes a long fucking time because you obviously don't want your guest to bite into a rock and so I hate that. And then grating millions of pounds of cheese and deboning 10 million fucking chickens. Someone kill me, right? I'm a little kid.
Yeah. So you were doing that from sort of school age. You were working in there at the back. Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah. And what was the drinks program like at that time?
There was no drinks program. So even though we opened up in 1965, we got our liquor license around 1972. And so in 1972, I am 8 years old, and obviously my parents did it. My parents had really no knowledge of drinks, except that there's whiskey, there's vodka, there's gin. And so the bar at Tommy's, I remember it vividly. It was so interesting because there were things that I had never heard of, like slow gin. Every creme de banana, creme de cacao. I mean, Harvey Wallbangers were popular. Brady Alexanders were popular. Even though we were a Mexican restaurant and had gotten into the liquor space, no one was drinking tequila at Tommy's. Sure. I mean, certainly we made some margaritas, but
only because other places were making margaritas too.
Because Mexican restaurants make margaritas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Talk to me about the Yucatecan heritage, because I'm kind of dimly aware that Yucatecan is Yucatecan, right?
Yes.
Yes. You kind of identify quite separately to Mexican, right?
100%. Yeah. When you ask someone from Mexico where they're from, if they're from almost anywhere except the Yucatan, they'll go, "Oh, I'm from Mexico." You ask someone that's from the Yucatan where they're from, they'll go, "First, I'm from the Yucatan." And the Yucatan is called La Hermana Republica, the sister republic of Mexico. Our history is pretty amazing, and there was a point before the advent of synthetic like nylon and synthetic rope, where the hemp and sisal production of the Yucatan was so strong and so financially lucrative that the Yucatan wanted to secede because they were self-supporting.
We were like, we could make a bit more money here. Yeah, we've got industry.
But DuPont and companies like that, when they create rayon and synthetic nylon or whatever, crushes us, right? And also, well, I mean, hemp sisal is an agave, but it's an agave that we don't kill. We just harvest the leaves, and every year the leaves grow back. But I don't know in what year, Mexico made some agreement with like Kenya and Tanzania to give these people sisal agaves, and it grew with greater success in Kenya and in Tanzania.
Because Yucatan used to be pretty much cut off from the rest of Mexico, right? You couldn't access it by road, or very
Yeah.
difficult, right?
Yeah, and we had
So it's like an island.
no
in a way.
desire. Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. To this day, so the Yucatan is considered the safest place to live in Mexico. It as a border crossing. So when you drive from any other Mexican state into the Yucatan, there's a border, and people will ask you, or not people, officials will ask you, what is the purpose of your visit, right? Because we want to know and make sure things are okay. And regardless of what you think, but for that reason and the degree of safety that the Yucatan experiences, I mean, every cartel family member lives there, and it's off limits, so it's safe.
Interesting.
It's-
And the food is quite different to the
Oh.
rest of Mexico, right?
With all my respect to Oaxaca, that probably stole their most famous dish from Puebla, right? A form of mole. The Yucatan is arguably the most complex food in the country.
Give me some examples of like the kind of Yucatan cuisine.
Well, the use of annatto seed, the use of habanero pepper, use of banana leaf, but something as ubiquitous now globally is cochinita pibil, to creating sauces that aren't moles with a myriad of burnt, or not burnt, with charred peppers, right? So rellenos negros and chirmoles and things like that. It's absolutely delicious.
And is the food at Tommy's still sort of steered predominantly by Yucatan cuisine, or is it more of a mixture of Mexican?
It's a little bit of a mixture. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Okay, so did you ever have aspirations to do something other than run the restaurant?
well, 100%. We still do. So
But I mean, like, were you ever, because you went to university, right?
yeah, I studied political science at the University of California at Berkeley, and my dream was to be a diplomat.
Okay.
Right? I mean, so I ended up taking the foreign service exams in the 80s and passed those exams. But unfortunately, at that time, the American State Department was, I mean, God, I feel terrible saying this, but was almost in a similar situation. Not as bad as today, but our State Department was a shambles, and our politics were difficult, and we were not. I mean, we were not a good neighbor, I don't think, and like we are today. It's tragic. But so when I went for my job interview, so there I am. I'm a relatively young person, and I speak 2 languages, and I'm Hispanic, and I have some attributes that maybe some people would find interesting. I went up, one of the candidates that was also interviewing for the job was a quadriplegic who spoke 4 languages, including Arabic and Mandarin. I said, holy shit. I looked at the quality of the people that were just in my group, and I actually told myself that I had no business even being there. I mean, I had 0 experience. I had zero job experience, 0 life experience, very little cultural experience. I mean, in a way, it did work out. So I was relegated to, washing dishes and, whatever, stocking beer bins and whatever, taking orders and cleaning tables.
And how did that feel?
That sucked. That sucked for, it actually sucked until I fell in love with tequila, right? So this thing with the dancing thing that had made me so self-conscious, it also went over into my quote unquote work life as a very young person, because
You begin to doubt yourself.
well, not only that, but Tommy's is in our neighborhood. We're literally across the street from the grammar school that I went to for 8 years. So, my friends that I have at school are also guests of the restaurant, and my friends, or my friends rather, the children of, I mean, the people that are my friends, their parents come to the restaurant with their kids, and their kids don't have to worry.
Yeah.
And so serving your classmate, it sucks.
Yeah.
So I purposely would try to be involved in tasks where the diners didn't have to see me. Fucking send me to the back to wash the bathroom, to wash the dishes, to sort out the beans, to fucking debone chickens. I don't care. As long as people aren't seeing me. And so luckily the construction of Tommy's is such that we have a dining area, but there's a wall that separates the bar from the dining area. And it's not really a wall. It's it's a small wall, like a meter tall. Then we put a railing on it and put crap on it to basically hide it. So you also don't see the punters or whatever. But anyway, so I found my quote unquote home at the bar, because
The hiding spot on the bar.
because no one went to the bar at times. Everyone went to eat at that time.
I remember because I dropped out of uni, and that was when I sort of properly started working in the bar. Well, actually, the kitchen beforehand. And I remember that feeling as well of like uni friends coming back for the summer or whatever, and you kind of feel a bit shameful that you're working in the service industry and making their drinks or food or whatever.
I mean, I went to the greatest public university in our country, right? The University of California at Berkeley, and I enjoyed what I studied. I'm a political scientist, but again, my friends were becoming attorneys and working in corporate America and going to their jobs in suits, and I'm fucking have a dish rag, But it's cool. It worked out.
So let's talk about falling in love with tequila. I guess you were visiting the Yucatan as a child.
Yeah.
But what about Jalisco?
Well, yes and no. So we obviously had very limited resources. So the way we would go to Mexico, and it was every other year, my parents would have my father's brother drive our entire family, we're 5 kids, to the Yucatan from San Francisco.
Oh my God. That's a long drive.
It's a 5-day drive that's straight, driving at least 18 hours a day.
God.
It's almost 3,100 miles. And, again, luckily it was safe, which is very important. And again, we had limited resources, so we never stayed in a hotel. You stayed where truckers stayed. So we would stay, the safest place that had light 24 hours was the Pemex gas station, right? The nationalized or gas of Mexico, whatever. But it was cool and it was amazing, but it kind of sucked because we would intentionally drive as far as we could in the United States. So you would drive from California through Southern California, across Arizona, as far to the point of Texas,
right.
McAllen or Del Rio, or
down there like Corpus Christi kind of direction. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
So that when you cross,
but you're making a longer journey for yourself. Yeah,
it is a little bit longer, but in theory, the roads in America were great. We're lit up. We're fucking 4-lane highways, and then when you got to Mexico, the problem of getting to Mexico in Tamaulipas that I remember is Tamaulipas wasn't dangerous at that time, but it was like the birthplace of mosquitoes, it seemed. There were millions of mosquitoes. So when you stopped on the side of the road, you just got devoured, and it was
God, that's horrible.
It's just horrible. And then it didn't help much because after Tamaulipas and getting eventually to Veracruz, which is like a day drive to the Yucatan, Veracruz is hot and humid just like the Yucatan. So millions of bugs and mosquitoes and crap and whatever. But that was an experience that actually I hated because I found I'm the only person in my family that wasn't born in the Yucatan, and the extreme heat and humidity would cause, I had some problem with my nose that I would get extreme nosebleeds, but extreme. And so I hated going. And plus, even though I spoke Spanish, it was my second language. So everyone would ridicule me about my accent, and that made me more self-conscious, along with fucking I can't
Oh my
fucking
God,
dance.
this is such a sorry story. The dancing and the
Fucking
nosebleeds.
kill me now. Huh? And so I didn't make friends, and so immediately, as a very, very, very young person, I didn't like Mexico, and I didn't like the food, and I didn't. And my relatives would go out of their way to make me these amazing things that I was just such an asshole. And I'd go, no, I want it like America, right? I mean, I was just ignorant, and now I'm though probably the person in my family that most wants to return and try to start a business. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's ironic that you
Yeah.
had such a sort of troublesome start with it, and yet now you are
Oh,
sort of
fucking love Mexico.
in hospitality. You're now a globally famous ambassador for Mexican spirits, Mexican cuisine. Wow.
Yeah, indeed. It's
So what about the first? I mean, like you mentioned, you got tequila on the bar.
no.
You've got So what's your first sort of
No.
encounter with it?
No. So what actually happened as a 13 or 14-year-old, me and my dumb shit friends started stealing alcohol from the bar. But we, steal a bottle of bourbon, drink that, and get wasted, but then get really sick. I mean, we're 13 and 14. Then you steal beer, you steal wine, you steal slow gin, you steal whatever. And it all made me personally just really sick. And I go, oh, this is horrible. Then one day, the product that we decided to take was a bottle of Sauza 3 Generations. And honestly, I'm sure I don't remember if it was 100% agave or not. It was probably 70-30. But not only did it taste good, but we go, whoa, we all got drunk, but today we're like, wow, we feel okay. There's something going on. We don't know what, and then the epiphany was, like people ask me all the time, how did the Tommy's Margarita get created or whatever. And that was all luck, but I was really grateful that the salespeople that were coming to Tommy's, were good salespeople and luckily had good products. So when the Herradura rep came, right? I had no idea what Mixto, what 100% agave was, what Herradura was, what anything was. And he just, to me, did the most powerful presentation was, don't listen to anything I say. Here's a glass of what you're pouring, and here's what this is, and go at it.
Right. So you've got to give a lot of credit to the salespeople that were coming into the bar that actually introduce you to 100% agave, rather than you just sort of finding it yourself.
Yeah, I wish I was that smart.
That, my friends, is the sound of bright citrus rising. Fever Tree's Mexican lime soda. Inside, Tahitian lime pressed whole. Oil from the peel, juice from the flesh. Nothing is wasted. Plus yuzu from Japan, where the trees take 10 years to bear fruit and every single one is picked by hand. It's carbonated hard on soft British spring water with fine bubbles that hold. Pour it over ice and drink it neat. That is the real test after all. It's zesty, sharp, faintly floral, and clean enough to stand on its own. Or build on it. Pour it along with tequila for a twist on a paloma, over ice with a squeeze of lime for a ranch water, and a highball that actually says something. Fever Tree Mexican lime soda, mixed with the best. Now let's get back to the show. So you start using brands like Herradura because they taste great. They're 100% agave.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the wholesale price of going from a mixto to Herradura at that time was incredibly dramatic. I literally remember we started out using Matador, which was a second label from Cuervo, and then used Sauza Hero, which was a second label from Sauza. But I honestly thought they tasted good, right? And of the two, the Sauza Hero was just smoother and softer. And I was kind of great, or I could see a difference of why we changed from the previous, right? But then again, when I tried Herradura, oh my God, it was just a mind-blowing explosion of flavor that had almost nothing to do with being softer or smoother, but incredibly more complex and
Yeah.
more flavorful,
Tastier.
for lack of better words.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are,
But it was 4 times more expensive.
yeah, of course.
And I only increased the price of the drink, I think like 50 or 75 cents. So if I had been in a corporate environment, I would have been fired immediately.
Yeah.
And my parents are kind of like, man, you went to a good school, but it seems like you're a fucking moron, right? But I'm like, and then the other crucial part of that story is when we take that step to replace our house pour with 100% agave and stop pouring regular tequilas entirely, 98% of the tequila drinking population in America, the largest tequila market in the world still, and back then, didn't drink 100% agave. So in a way, it was also kind of stupid to give people great things that they have no idea what they are either.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was the next question. You know that it tastes better. You know that it's made at with 100% agave. You're not charging that much more for it, but you've got to then educate the consumer that they're getting a better product. How do you go about doing that?
Well, the way I went about doing that was, let's say you would walk into the bar at Tommy's and, I'd like a picture of margaritas. And just to note, we, the proprietors of Tommy's Mexican restaurant, never ever called the cocktail the Tommy's Margarita. On the menu was just the house margarita, and it's prepared a certain way. It was people like Masso, Henry Besant, and Dom Costa, Giorgio Fala, et cetera, Europeans that came to San Francisco and said, oh, this is a Tommy's. Well, anyway, so when you would come to the bar and let's say you ordered a margarita, I purposely made it a point to put the bottle of spirit in front of the guest, right? And I'd also make a little comment of, I believe so much in our quote unquote well house tequila that I'm willing to show you what it is. That wasn't customary in America. On the contrary, lots of good bars had beautiful back bars, but the stuff that most people poured in the rail was absolute shit, right? And here we were saying, no, go find out what this costs in the store and go see what this is, blah, 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 blah. And as I start to carry more and more tequilas, we did that with whatever the guest would order. And what that created was a cool little interchange when a different guest would come sit next to that guest who has a bottle in front of him or her. And naturally, I mean, it wasn't like today where people, at least in some parts of America, don't socialize and don't want to talk to anybody. But back then it was people were very curious and they'd go, oh, excuse me, what's that? Or what are you having? And that would spark a conversation that whatever led to whatever. And people soon start to develop their own personal preferences, which is what we wanted.
Yeah, I think putting a bottle in front of people is quite a powerful, it's a powerful message, but also a potential trigger for conversation as well.
Yeah,
because
and it's a trust thing too.
Yeah, because
right?
you're saying to someone, here's the bottle I'm making it from. Now they don't have to ask any questions.
No.
They can just enjoy their drink and that's the end of it. You're not forcing education on them.
Nope.
But it is a starting point. It opens the door to that. Oh, right. I've not seen that brand before. Tell me about it. And then you have carte blanche to go, well, okay, this is how it's made. This is why we think it's nice. This is why your margarita tastes that way. All of a sudden, they're getting a much richer experience from it.
Now, the other thing I did...
I'm going to put this over here because it will block your face.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, we'll open one in a minute.
The other thing that I did that I thought was really cool was, let's say you're sitting at the bar of Tommy's and you just get a house margarita, which is great. And someone next to you, maybe a regular says, oh, hey, Julio, or whatever, whoever's working, can I get a XYZ tequila margarita? So the person getting the well, so back then, or when I started, we tasted every cocktail with a metal bar spoon. So we had a zillion metal bar spoons, and I would take the bar spoon, try a little bit of the drink, and then we had a the cleaning area where I would put the bar spoon, right, to wash. But anyway, on many occasions, if I got someone brand new that was sitting next to someone drinking something different, I would try it, boom, get rid of the spoon, get another spoon and go, you, sir, try this. And they'd go, oh, that tastes totally different from my margarita. Yeah, it's not better. It's not worse. Your margarita tastes of this because that's what you ordered. This margarita tastes of that because this person likes this. That was a powerful experience and statement because no one had really thought of the margarita having a flavor side based on the raw material.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
A margarita was a margarita. It wasn't
correct.
It wasn't affected by the products that went into it. Was the kind of mentality. Yeah.
And that was, I think, a great thing that we did for almost every brand of tequila. That was quality.
So let's place this. The sort of when you start bringing 100% agaves in, is this the 1980s? Is that right?
Late 80s.
Late 80s. Okay. And when did the restaurant start to, in your opinion, become famous for its tequila offering?
Well, I can literally almost remember the date. So I'm a huge jazz fest person. So my favorite, my one vacation of the year, and I won't do anything but go there, and I don't care where there's work, I will refuse it. But Jazz Fest in New Orleans is my favorite time of the year, and it's always the last weekend in April and the first weekend in May. So I've been going for the last 28 years. I missed Katrina 1 year, and then there was a year and a half of pandemic. But aside from that, 28 years going to Jazz Fest. And it just ended, and it was amazing. But so I'm walking down Canal Street in New Orleans, and I see a Tommy's Guest, right? And I'm walking not only on Canal Street, but in front of the Sheraton, which is kind of a famous hotel in New Orleans. And just walking around, it's a beautiful sunny day. And this guest of mine goes, hey, Julio, did you buy the Wall Street Journal today? And I go, of course fucking not. I have no money. What am I going to buy the Wall Street Journal for? And he goes, you're on the front page. And I go, excuse me? So I go into the Sheraton on Canal Street and I buy a Wall Street Journal, and I go, shit, I'm on the front page. And it was a gentleman who had interviewed us, obviously some time before, and I had no idea when the article was going to come out. But anyway, this article comes out, and it proclaims Tommy's as the epicenter of tequila in the United States of America.
Wow.
And, that's 1999. So obviously I'd been doing the program for years, and actually I couldn't get any kind of credibility because we've never done any kind of promotion, and I mean, to this day, we don't really do social media. I just don't know how to do it. And so, I remember other tequila, like I did a guest shift at this tequila bar called Corona Bar and Grill in San Francisco, and they were the local newspaper touted them as the best selection of tequila in San Francisco because they had 24 brands. At that time, I had 36 or 48, but no one ever went to my neighborhood because my neighborhood's called the Sticks of San Francisco.
Yeah, you're a little bit out of the way there, aren't you? Yeah,
I'm in the jungle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no one goes to my neighborhood unless right?
Yeah, sure.
So that was fine, and I don't really give a shit. We're in our own space and looking after our own guests. So as long as they're happy and keep coming, I'm happy. But anyway, that Wall Street Journal article was huge, and that started it in 1999.
And could you sort of visibly see the change in the customers and the attention you're getting in general? Yeah,
you bet.
It got busier. Yeah,
it got busier, and people started requesting more information, and it also, I mean, the greatest thing of knowledge is that then people start to do the same thing because you see some success there. And I mean, I feel really happy that, like, when people in Northern California and in San Francisco start making the switch of course, every bar and restaurant has tequila. Now in San Francisco, it was 100% agave. Even the Asian restaurant or people not in our genre would at least have 100% agave. And that was a cool victory and a statement that this wasn't like a fad. This is a real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That was great.
Well, I mean, I started bartending in 2001, and pretty much the first, at a pretty good restaurant, and pretty much the first thing anyone said to me was, you need to look out for 100% agave tequila.
That's great.
Got to look for 100%. And obviously that's partly down to you and the education that you were providing. So when did you start educating?
Professionally?
Yeah.
In London, it was 2001.
Oh, there you go.
And I mean, I came with a contingent from the CRT with the president of Mexico when he came to sign the agreements recognizing tequila's denomination of origin status with the UK and the EU. And my responsibility was talking to London bartenders. And that just blew me away and fell in love with London and fell in love with the cocktail scene. I had come a year or two before because one of my dear friends, and who started out as a guest, Tony Abou-Ganim, you know, I had told Tony, hey, I'm going to London. You know, I mean, I had gone as a tourist in 1987. Like, you know, I'm at university. It's the summer. I'm going to do 50 European countries in 3 days and, you know, hit every capital city, sleep on the train station, you know, sleep on the floor, sleep on the street, blah, 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 and did that. But so I was coming to London, and it so happened to be the London Wine Fair. And Tony Abou-Ganim had said, hey, man, there's some cat out there named Dre Masso. You should go see him work. So I have no idea how Tony knew of Dre, or I don't remember what he told me, but he just said, this guy's mind blowing. Okay, so I go to the London Wine Fair, and I'm just walking around, and there's a stand where someone's doing like a little exhibition. So I'm just getting closer because I don't know anybody and I have no idea what I'm doing. And it was Dre, right? And I'm like, this is great. We're killing two birds with one stone. Okay. And then so I kind of introduced myself to Dre and just said, hey, a friend of mine said, you know, I should go see you work at your bar. And, you know, he was working at Lab, obviously. And he goes, yeah, well, Lab is located here and we open at whatever time. And yeah, please come by. Okay. I mean,
did he know who you were?
Oh, no one knew who I was. I mean, that wasn't anybody. Well, I'm still nobody, but no. He was just polite, right? And so, and on that trip, I was actually, I was staying for free on the floor above La Perla on...
Oh, were you?
Oh, no, yeah, because fucking London with the pound was 2-1.
Is that Maiden Lane? Was that?
Maiden Lane. Yeah. And so Tom Estes, a true ambassador, and you know, welcome fucking the whole world. But anyway,
when did you? Well, actually, let's finish that, and then we'll talk about Thomas, maybe. Yeah.
But so anyway, so I'm at La Perla, and I go, okay, I'm gonna go to Lab today. So, you know, I'm not a schmuck. I'm not gonna go when they're 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock busy. He said he opened at 5 or 5:30, so I get there like 10-15 minutes before they open. And so I get there and, you know, the Lab had this one big step kind of, and then you walk up and you go into the bar. But so there's this lovely young lady on the step with her little clipboard. And so I get there and she greets me and, how can I help you? Oh, I'm really excited to come and have a cocktail at this bar. And her question is, well, who do you know? And I go, well, I fucking don't know anybody. I mean, I didn't understand the question. Right? I go, no, I don't know anyone. And she goes, well, it's going to be very difficult for you to get in tonight. And I'm like, there's nobody in this fucking place. You haven't even opened. Okay. So
welcome to London in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah. Go fuck yourself. All right, fine. So I go back to La Perla and I tell the whole staff of my experience. They go, fuck those guys. And we get wasted at La Perla and it was all fine. But then I eventually went the next day and was able to see Dre and he was kind enough to, again, I'm a nobody, but introducing me to the bartenders there and
nice,
just being welcoming.
Well, you mentioned already that he and Henry and others were partly responsible for promoting your Margarita. So when did Dre get over to San Francisco?
he went over to San Francisco in 2004 or 5, but I took him on his first industry trip in 2004 or 3.
To Jalisco.
I think, yeah. Yep. Well, so what happened on that trip with the president and me meeting bartenders?
Because you'd been awarded, you'd been titled North American Ambassador for Tequila around this time, had you not?
No, but we were truly waving the flag of 100% agave
Right.
for years, for a good 14 years. And what was really powerful, I think, was so back then when I started, and so I have 24 tequilas or 30 tequilas or whatever, a guest would go, "Oh, and what does this mean?" Or why did you buy this? My response was because it's delicious, and that wasn't satisfying enough for my guests, which is great. So the guest is going or telling me they're not satisfied with the level of service we're providing. That means we got to learn more. So let's learn more, right? So I start going to Mexico on my own dime because, again, in America back then, the industry trips were for district managers of distributor companies.
Not for bartenders.
Never for the fucking people selling it.
Yeah.
Or more importantly, for also the people consuming it.
Sure.
So anyway, but when I would take my groups, I made them, so we create this club called the Tommy's Blue Agave Club. And I remember when I started it, I made there's no internet, there's no nothing, and there's no, only rich, large corporate businesses had POS systems in the 80s, right? It's like fucking 10 grand, right? We're writing everything down on a piece of paper. So anyway, I create this card that has our little list of 24 things, and I would give them out, right, for free. And then one day, this one guest goes, "Hey, Julio, can I have one of those cards you gave me for free last week? I threw mine away." And that pissed me off that this guy threw it away. If he would have told me he lost it, he washed it, of course. When he told me he threw it away, I go, "Oh no, that's $10. And he goes, "Oh, fuck that." Okay. That's when I started charging for the card, making the guest vested in what we were doing, and separate the posers who want to waste my time from people who enjoy drinking but want to learn. And that was really cool. But that little card led to people asking more and more questions. And I go, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we start, of the crazy little regulars that I had, I said, why don't we go to Mexico? And like 4 or 5 of us went to Mexico and again, no distillery gave tours. They gave tours if you know them or you're a family member or whatever. And we went, knocked on doors and said, this is what we do. Can we visit? Everyone said yes. And people were blown away by the fact that there were these Americans who wanted to not just get fucked up, but wanted to learn about what's an agave, and the Mexicans were blown away. And they were also blown away because the people I was taking actually happened to be incredible drinkers. People could drink and not.
They just pay for a trip to Mexico to go drinking, so it kind of self-selects.
Get their money's worth. Yeah. Everybody got their money's worth. But no one was sloppy. And eventually in the club, we work it where we need to vet people because, again, you tell someone they can drink anything they want and they'll try. So we start administering an exam, a written exam that's 25 minutes. That's about fermentation, distillation, some history, some bullshit about our club to kind of vet people and make sure that also out of respect to our hosts, that my guest wasn't there just to get fucked up.
Yeah, also having an exam, it kind of creates a certain mystique, doesn't it? Like, you've got to do an exam to get in?
Well, I
want to do it.
And the only way you could go was, so the club had levels, based on drinking a certain amount of drinks, right? I mean, we're also a business. So we would call it, you become first a tequila master.
Yeah.
That's just you drink. Who cares? The second level is you become a PhD. There you, after drinking 35 drinks, you have to take an exam and get 80% correct.
Not literally after drinking 35 drinks.
No. Whenever you want. Yeah, people have done that too. And then you can get on a wait list to go to Mexico with me at your expense.
Yeah.
But again, and I will say this to this day, that the Mexican experience is like you. I've been fortunate enough to visit distilleries on almost every continent and of every category. I've never seen a level of hospitality that's exhibited in Mexico anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, as I said, I just got back yesterday, and you kind of get that post-Mexico hangover, and I don't mean hangover in the sense that I was drinking a lot. I mean, it's sort of this sadness, like dark cloud over your head. Like, I just want to be back there,
Yep.
Because the hospitality, I mean, everything, the people are beautiful, the food's beautiful, obviously the drinks are beautiful, the setting, it's just magic, I love it.
Indeed, it is magic.
Every time I leave, I'm just thinking, when am I going to go back?
I always tell my guests that have never gone, and also I try not to take the same guest, because it should be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I go, Jalisco will change your life.
Now, farming might not be the first thing you think of when it comes to vodka, but it's there in every single bottle. In Poland, that traditionally means rye. And for Belvedere, it now means organic rye across their entire product range. Going fully organic is a serious business. It's a serious commitment. So nastroje, Belvedere. You get that gentle prickle of spice on the tongue, a thick, unctuous texture, and that smooth finish. Enough character to really sharpen a martini, which is important to me. Belvedere have also invested in their distillery. Biomass energy, solar power. Real changes for a better world and a better vodka. And I like that. This is a vodka with flavor, made with a bit more care than most, and one that really earns its place in a martini. Belvedere. Always first, always unexpected. Let's get back to the show. Did you hear I brought back a COA? Did anyone tell you that yesterday? See that over there?
Good job.
That's a COA.
Yeah. Good job.
A humidor sold it to me.
Oh, you should have asked me. I would have gotten you one.
Well, I was like,
No,
I've been out there. Every time I've been out there, I've sort of been like, where can you buy COAs? Like thinking I just get it from a
hardware store.
But this time there was a guy who was doing a demonstration, and we all got to go as you do normally. And I was just chatting to him afterwards, and I was like, how much do these cost? Where do you buy them from? How long do they last? How many agaves have you cut with it? All these sort of stupid questions. Some of them stupid questions.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and then I was like, I didn't want to be rude, because obviously he earns a living for using this thing. I was like,
Well, yeah, that's his.
yeah, he
That's
needs
his
it.
bar shaker. That's his.
Yeah, but he told me how much he pays from new, and I said, well, look, this is an old one. Can I just pay you what it's worth new, and then you can go buy a new one? And he was like,
No, but that also. I'm surprised he did, because it takes years to get the blade as sharp as you like, and to your liking, it's like a.
I was surprised as well, but he was very happy to sell it to me, and he wrote on the handle and everything, and
Do you mind if I ask what distillery was he from?
Altos.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah. So it's going to go on the wall at home with all my agave spirits collection. Yeah.
Oh, and if you ever get a non-paying customer, show him that. He'll fucking pay the bill immediately.
Right? Take your fucking head off.
Yeah, correct. Well, unfortunately, someone from San Francisco was responsible in one of the major changes that has happened at large distillery. So, again, as you saw personally, making tequila is labor intensive and not the easiest thing in the world, because a lot of it is done by hand. And the humidor is beyond being a craftsman that has so much skill and experience. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of shaking the hand of a veteran or seasoned humidor. His hands are grotesquely calloused from cutting a million heads of agave, right?
And catching it on the spikes and everything.
Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, they're true.
Oh, it's brutal
masters.
work. I mean,
Can I tell you a funny story that I love to this day? So, I got Stefano Francavilla his first job at Fortaleza, and And I also brought Stefano and Charles Vexenot to the United States for their first job in America. And they wanted to learn how to make tequila. So I asked Arete and my wife's family at Tapatio if they would host Stefano and Charles. And of course they said yes. And they, at Arete on like one of their first days, they go, we're going to harvest. Okay. Be ready and we're going to pick you up and right. And so, these two guys from London working at some of the best bars in the world, they're going, all right, we're on fucking vacation here in Jalisco. They they're woken up at 4 a.m. and they're like, what the fuck? What? I'm on vacation. No, we're going to harvest. They're in wife beaters and shorts, and the Mexicans are in huge leather. It's freezing in the morning.
Yeah.
And also, in agave, it's full of thorns and full of spikes, and
you need
on
protection.
rocks, you need lots of protection.
Yeah.
They had a rude awakening,
Yeah.
but had a great experience and start to see how difficult it is. But back to the San Francisco story. So again, this tourist wants to harvest agave, and he's in flip-flops and almost cuts his entire foot off.
Oh.
And from that moment, everybody needs steel-toed boots. I mean, if you're at a major place, and you got to be really careful. And as cool as it looks, it's a skill that requires a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And
No, it's. I mean, if it was just the heat, it would be bad enough. But it's the thorns on the plant. It's
the
skill,
scorpions in the thing.
Snakes. It's the actual skill of being able to shave it at the right level, rather than it just dig straight into the piña, or you miss it altogether.
And when you see a symmetrically cut oval agave, you're looking at it and it goes, oh, wow. And then you try to do that yourself with no experience. Oh, these people are
the sculptors.
Yeah.
It is insane. Yeah. And then to be doing dozens of these things in a morning is just crazy. And then cutting them apart and getting them in a truck or whatever. It's brutal work. And it's mad because every bottle of tequila you see has got agave in it, and it's been cut by hand by a team of these people.
So not only that, on my first trip to Tapatio in 89 or 90, Tapatio had no road. So I was driving with Carlos Camarena on that, and he had a white Volkswagen bus. And, because, they're like tanks almost, right? And our axle brakes going to the distillery, and we're in the middle of fucking nowhere, and I was already an El Tesoro customer, and so we have a little car and we have all these problems. How do this producer of this stuff, get his shit out of this place so it can go on my bar shelf fucking halfway around the world?
I've got him get down the lane.
Yeah. It was impressive.
No, it's crazy. El Tesoro was one of the first 100% agaves in North America, right?
Well, it was one of the first during the new wave.
Right.
I would argue that Bob Denton introduced Chinaco, but Chinaco was too early. And no one realized how great and delicious it was till years later. And so there was greater success when Bob Denton and John Paul DeGioia almost simultaneously introduced El Tesoro and Patron to the American market in 1989.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think a lot of people don't realize Patron has been around that long as well. And I guess it maybe had a slightly slow start, but, obviously it's not slow now.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But it didn't have a slow start. It was, I think, a quicker start than El Tesoro.
Okay.
And then they did some great marketing things.
Yeah. What was the first tequila distillery you visited?
The first distillery that I formally visited, I think, was Herradura or Cuervo or Sauza. It was in the valley. Yeah. But back to that. So when we were little kids and infants or whatever, being driven to the Yucatan on Highway 15, which is the main road where you eventually have to get to, it goes right through the city of Tequila. So again,
does it really?
I have no, I mean, I'm an infant. There's my parents have a picture of me, and there's a bottle of Hornitos that they're, I think, putting on my lips. But when we would drive,
To try and stop the nosebleeds.
we always, no, this is before the nosebleeds, because in northern part of Mexico, the climate isn't as extreme, and I had no problem. But we always stopped in Tequila because to this day, when you go to Tequila and you are in the center of the city of Tequila, where they have the monument, the principal monument, there's that gas station, the Pemex right there. That was one of the few gas stations at that time. So you always went through Tequila, stopped there because there was a fairly good restaurant.
And you slept there as well.
We would sometimes sleep there, but we always got gas, and we always bought people selling alcohol in fucking plastic jugs, right? We never bought anything from a bottle or in a store.
So you were doing road trips through Tequila as a very young man. Yeah.
But I didn't know it.
No, I didn't realize it at the time.
But that's my image of tequila as a very, very young person.
You want to drink some tequila?
Well, that's agave spirit.
Well, yes,
Sure.
I know. So that was going to be my next thing. So this is Caballito Cerrero, which doesn't have a nom.
It used to.
Yeah, used to. In fact, they helped, because they're a family of lawyers, right? The Jimenez.
Yeah.
They actually helped design the original nom, I think.
Yeah.
And then ironically ended up sitting outside of it. But this is the Chateau as well. So
Yeah.
not even blue agave. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have Caballito Cerrero tequila at times.
Yeah. Oh, you've actually got Caballito Cerrero tequila.
Correct.
Because it was labeled as tequila for quite some time.
Oh, yeah?
They didn't actually have
And it's really good.
it's really good. It's one of my favorites.
Now, I do have a little bit of an issue with non-regulated agave spirits.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. There you go.
Oh, thank you so much. Well,
I've got 2 non-regulated agave spirits right here for us. I could have picked some regulated ones, but this is just what came out of the bag first.
yeah, I poison my body every day, right? And I make that choice, and I am almost exclusively an agave drinker, though I do appreciate everything and have everything in my collection. And again, like you, visited almost everyone trying to make anything that's distilled. But I do want what I'm putting in my body regulated and confirmed by a gas chromatograph. So I respect everyone's craft and tradition, but this is also science, and you're making poison. I just want to make sure the poison I'm drinking isn't going to kill me. I mean, sooner than later.
So regulation for you is important for a safety point of view, rather than for a kind of category definition point of view, or protecting spirits that are in a category.
Correct. Because alcohol is a very serious business. And, a lot of products that are being sold won't meet standards in certain countries. And then in other countries, they're allowed to be sold.
Sure.
But having certain compounds in your product are undesirable. And again, they may taste delicious, but, I love the story of, I get guests that come to Tommy's that have just visited a mountain region in Jalisco, and they have a plastic water bottle with liquid that has the lightest, bluest sheen on it.
Something come off the copper still a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and they're going, Julio, I drank this and I saw things that I only read about in books. Yeah. That's copper oxide poisoning, right?
Well, I mean, because these are distilled agave still, though they don't obviously fit within tequila or mezcal.
Sure.
I mean, these guys, they don't really have a lot of choice in that matter, because there's no mezcal DO in Jalisco. So what do? They want to bottle their product, they want to make it, and they have been making it for generations as well. What do you do,
Well, if I were them, I would do it. I mean, granted, this was already established in tequila, but Herradura would put the chemical breakdown on the back of their front label, early on. So here's what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, that would, again, and they could also lie but I think the concern for knowledge for the guest that he or she knows what they are putting in their body is important. I think that notion is what is the most important and trustful relationship in hospitality. When you serve a stranger something they're putting in their body, as that stranger, I really want to know what I'm putting in my body, right?
Do you think, I mean, you mentioned already the example of the blue colored spirit. Do you think that there's a problem in Mexico at the moment with unregulated, dangerous spirits?
I don't know if it's a problem, but it exists, right? And the lore, the folklore of having the mezcalero who's 1,000 years old, blow into his reed and telling you about ABV, that's cool, but gas chromatograph is exact and tells you everything, right? And I know it's expensive.
Yeah, so that's the counter argument, isn't it? It is expensive and therefore discriminatory in a way.
Yes. No, it's a barrier to entry, but they're also, and again, it does cost money, but there are also services that, and within the industry and industries that can do that service. I mean, it just costs money because, like you imply, a gas chromatograph of $100,000, right?
Yeah, sure.
And not everyone has one, but Comarcam and CRT and other labs provide that service.
These products here are both imported into the US. I would imagine they have to be tested, to meet TTB standards or whatever, right?
Well, TTB I think is label and some other things.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if anyone.
There are regulations around methanol levels and things like that, though, right?
Of course.
So I would guess they have to undergo some sort. If they're not paying for testing themselves, then perhaps, I don't know, someone has to pay for testing on the US side of it. I don't know.
That would never happen. So
yeah.
I'm actually unclear on that because I honestly don't carry any non-regulated agave spirit.
Oh well, it's good you're going to try some now.
Oh no, I've tried them before.
I know.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I could have put. I think probably. What else did I bring back with me? I brought back another Jalisco mezcal, and then I think some more Chocolo as well, actually, and then probably there's some tequila in the bag too. But those are just the first two I came.
How many bottles did you bring back?
I brought back 8.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, that's pretty good going. I think.
Did you declare them or no?
No.
Yeah.
No. This is the thing. I went through immigration with a COA. 8 bottles of mezcal and about quite a lot of camera equipment as well, which they also get sensitive about too.
Of course.
So I count myself quite lucky that I didn't get a big fine, but it's a risk I'm willing to take for a COA and delicious spirits. So yeah.
Well, the coolest thing of the COA, they do sell keychain COAs. They're obviously not real, but they're really cool.
I've not seen them before. I should have gone with them too.
That's really
but yeah, I was slightly concerned because they get sensitive about soil samples as well, and of course you never know with the blade or whatever. But anyway, it was all good. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about visiting distilleries. I mean, you mentioned like Herradura. What was it you were sort of seeing there and learning that kind of you could take back to San Francisco?
Oh my God. So I remember my first meeting with Guillermo Romo de la Peña, the owner of Herradura. At first, I'm kind of in awe. So one of the things that when I kind of fell in love with tequila really struck me as I start to meet certain producers was that, because a lot of people would criticize tequila and say, oh, this is cheap and this is whatever, peasants drink this. I was lucky to meet people like Don Memo and Don Felipe and blah, blah, and Don Julio. And there were people who had not only genuine passions for whatever their business was, but passion for doing it correctly in the right way. And that just meant a lot to me. It kind of meant, I'm Mexican American, and here are these Mexicans that actually should be considered with the best cognac producers and the best whiskey producers. They're really serious. They're not fucking around. And so that made a great impact. But when I went to meet Don Memo, I had already become a big customer of Herradura, and in fact, eventually would become the largest independent seller of Herradura in the United States. Granted, no one knew what Herradura was or who they were. But I was really proud when I made my first tequila menu, and I went to show it to the owner of this company. I go, man, he's going to love it. He's going to be blown away. But my menu, I made the colossal mistake of being young and stupid and putting my opinions in my menu, right? And when Don Memo read this, and, I said really nice things about Herradura, and I didn't say some nice things about other people. And he goes, you can't do this. This is just not only not smart, but it's not business smart, and it's not this, and it's not that. And he did me one of the greatest favors of not of being smarter and learning more, and also that everyone has a position in the marketplace, and maybe XYZ does that on purpose, and in fact everyone does what they do they have their reasons, and that's great, right? But that was really an eye-opening experience. And then when I went to the Highlands, and I get to meet, Fernando Gonzalez of Siete Leguas and Don Felipe and others, I remember I had never been to Arandas. Never. And I'm driving there by myself, and it's just weird because it looks so different from the Mexico that I'm used to in the Yucatan. And so I finally get to the city of Arandas, and I see this great liquor store on the right-hand corner, or this really nice big shop. So I pull in, and let's start learning about tequila from here. And so I go to the counter of the shop, and I go, oh, can you recommend your best tequila? And the guy smiles, and of course I can. And he, whips out sample glasses for me, and he goes, here's this and this and this, but the best one is this one. And he has a barrel underneath the bar, and it's something. And anyway, so he goes, oh, can't you smell the vanilla and the wood and the blah, 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 blah. Fucking a million stories, and, the silk dress and the fucking necklace. And, oh my God, please sell me 2 bottles. Please, please, please. Here you go. Have a great day. Okay. So I buy my bottles, and I had an appointment with Don Felipe Camarena, the owner of Tapatio and Carlos's father. And so anyway, he's very grateful to give me a tasting. And I go, hey, I was just up the street, and this guy said this is the best tequila in this whole region. And, and
I bet that went down well.
oh my God, it's fucking a learning experience.
Yeah.
And Don Felipe was kind enough to just break it down and show me the differences between aging over time and the addition of vanillin or vanilla or other sweeteners and things like that. But hey, that's great. Wow. But that also was kind of groundbreaking because, the greatest, strength I think any salesperson can have is, please try all my competitors, right? That's the motto at Tommy's.
Yeah.
Visit my competitors, please. Get it better. You should be there.
Yeah.
And that really said something.
I think especially when you've got a category where it's not just education about a brand that's required, it's about the entire category, and there's sort of recognition and respect for your competitors that if we can all push in the same direction, a rising tide lifts all boats.
100%.
Yeah.
And that was never the case though in tequila till maybe recently. And
it was more competitive in the past, do you think?
It was not only more competitive, it was
Animosity.
Animosity, but no one would say it in public. Like if you told someone, oh, I'm going to visit Tristan at, Cabito Cerrero, and then I'm going to go see Stefano Guine at Tequileño. Oh, they'd go, oh, that's good. But behind someone's back, they'd go, oh, that fucking guy's buying grain alcohol and mixing it, or that guy's a cheater, or that guy's a this, or that guy's a that. And today, like you just mentioned, people want you to visit everybody because they believe they're doing good work. And that's lifting the whole tide of the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I've read about the real the kind of vehement hatred between the Salza and Cuervo families in the past, right? There's been some serious sort of fights between them, very competitive, both commercially and sort of on a family level as well.
And even within the same family as well, too.
Yeah,
So.
it's crazy. But okay, so I'm interested in like how tequila has changed over the years. And when you first started getting interested in 100% agave in the 80s, how those products are different than they are today. Now, obviously, we know some of these distilleries produce in a different way these days.
You bet.
We've got diffusers in some of these places now, and it's markedly changed the character of the product.
That's the biggest difference. Oh, I would say the biggest difference, on the contrary, has been the true shift from the Valley producer exclusively using Valley tequila to having the growth such that they now have to buy agave from everywhere. So we've before the creation of Ocho, the first ever vineyard designated tequila was a product called Alteño, made by a gentleman, Luis Cheto, who owned Luis Cheto Winery in northern Mexico, and he happened to own Viuda Romero. And there he made this experiment of 1 year he produced this product called Alteño, and we have them at Tommy's, from each different field. And he thought it was a disaster applying wine techniques to tequila because people preferred one over the other, because he released all 3 different fields at the same time. Oh yeah, no one has. No one has. I mean, we have the proof, right? No one has. And so when he released them all at the same time and his guests preferred one over the other, he goes, bad fucking idea. Let's just make it like this. I got it. But anyway, the terroir of tequila had always been really cool in the sense that whether you like Cuervo or Salza or Herradura, and we didn't have access to a lot of the Highland products because they didn't export. And in the case of, say, Siete Leguas that had exported, they didn't have a great deal of success. When they experience, I mean, if you can call it success with Patron, things were done to prevent Siete Leguas from being in the marketplace for like 10 years. So that was a big blow to Highland producers. So then we fast forward, literally skipping, I mean, it's huge, skipping 60s, 70s, and almost all the 80s till 1989 with the creation of Patron and El Tesoro, of certain American tequila lovers getting access to those products. All we got were Valley tequilas. But those Valley tequilas back then in the 70s and prior to the change from 100% agave to 70-30 to 51-49 were very distinctive and Valley and herbaceous and green and really cool. So again, if you come to Tommy's, I can open up a bottle of Hornitos that is really delicious and indicative of the Valley.
So, but what you're saying is because the agaves are now sourced from all over the place, and indeed some of these producers are selling made tequila and interchanging it that way as well, aren't they, from other producers?
But also,
it just muddies the whole thing, effectively.
It got muddier because agricultural practices in the Valley were, for whatever reason, compromised through the creation of the ejido or bad farming techniques, et cetera, et cetera. And those compromises were not made in the Highlands. So the Highlands, like they do today, produces like 70% of all the agave for the whole industry. So it just is logical that a lot of tequilas, even from the Valley, now have a slightly Highland character because they're buying agave from there and they have to.
Are there examples of tequilas in the Valley that
are 100% Valley?
Yeah.
Of course.
So give me some of those.
Sure. Cascawin, Atanasio, Fortaleza to a great degree. And
you think they still have that representative style?
Yeah. Absolutely. And so don't get me wrong, tequila, because of its growth, has also become homogenized, or some would even say mediocre or commercialized. But there's still, in any industry, and this one as well, producers that they're sticking to their guns, and it's really cool. And it's still cool.
And they're as good as the 100% agave producers from the 80s.
I think so. And then many have changed, like you say, and many have unfortunately gotten really dumbed down.
Yeah.
But there's some people still fighting the fight. And there are also new players that have come on that seem to want to do it the right way. And again, I always say, like right now, as you know, agave is really inexpensive. We're in that gap where agave is almost free. So everyone is saying the right things right now. I'm only mature agave, only this, and only from here, and I ferment in wood and with the bagasso and taona and blah 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 blah, which is cool, because I think right now the level of quality in the industry is very high. But in 4 years, when agave becomes a scarce resource again, let's see if the quality remains the same.
Yeah, once it's expensive, then corners start getting cut, right? Yeah.
Always. But there are people that never do that, that just stay the same. Whether agave is cheap or expensive, they make it like this. And I am sometimes sad to answer a customer when I'm asked, what's the latest, greatest, newest? And I say the same thing, because we kind of look at the category over decades and not just, a monthly basis, when right now there's brands being introduced every single day, right?
Yeah, 2,000 or something brands, I think.
It's almost
Is
3,000.
it now? Yeah. And out of what, like 200 distilleries, something around that mark,
Yeah.
I think, isn't it?
Remember in 1983, there were 31 or 33 distilleries. Yeah, there's been some serious growth. People have done well.
But in both directions on the sort of scale of quality, right? I mean,
Oh.
there's,
Of course.
as you say, there's some amazing producers out there, but there's also some fucking shit products out there too, and lots of them too.
But we are all grateful for the big producers, right?
Yeah.
Without the big producers, none of us would be here.
Yeah.
And they forge a lot of headway, and getting the tequila name and product in many corners of the world is no easy task for any product. So without them, no one would be anywhere.
When you look back at some of the older products that you've got in your collection, which are some of the favorites you like to try to open and taste? The most nostalgic ones, maybe?
Well, I used to bleed Herradura red, and fucking
Herradura is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Delicious. Absolutely. It's mind-blowing. Delicious. Right across the street from Herradura, in the town of Amatitan, was the first ever cooperative distillery, and it was called Ejidal. And an ejido is it's an association of whatever. And in the farming, ejidos were associations of farmers, and in tequila, they were associations of agave growers. And they formed this distillery where it was started in 1978, and their first master distiller was one of my greatest mentors, and someone who, he's no longer with us, and I owe a significant part of my career to him. That was Don Mario Gomez. But he was across the street from Herradura, who was making the best tequila in the world. And he was at this small little cooperative making the same quality in his products. If you find vintage regional, that is incredibly delicious valley tequila. Incredibly delicious. And
wow, that street had a lot to answer for then, right? You got Herradura on one side and him on the other.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Do you think these products change much in the bottle?
If they're looked after, I don't.
Because we're very aware of the phenomenon of aging, especially mezcal, in glass, in demijohns. You put it in a cellar that's cold and dark for 10 years, and the product transforms enormously. So if you take 100% agave tequila and put it in a glass bottle, even if you store it well, it stands to reason to me, surely, that this product is going to change, possibly for the better.
Well, so luckily at Tommy's, we can still do that experience. And in my particular experience with Regional and Herradura, I mean, they're just as delicious to me. You know, I had an interesting talk with Desmond Payne 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, how in some places, some bars, you can get a vintage cocktail and, you know, pay a ton of money for it. And I was going, hey, I don't know if gin is like a distillate where you add flavor to it, whether it's in a tea bag or you distill with botanicals. Do you lose that over time? And he said, yes. And so I go, well, is there a value in having 100-year-old gin?
Possibly not. Yeah.
Possibly not.
Yeah.
But we had with Jake Berger, we opened up a 100-year-old bottle of tequila, and it had some agave flavor, and it still had the alcohol, right? But I don't know what it was like because that was the only time in my life I tried that particular product. So I had no reference point. What is lucky for us now at Tommy's is we do have the reference point, right? So, and this is a nice point of differentiation. You can go to any bar around the world that bought a vintage collection of something, right? But they may have 1 or 2 bottles. In our case, we have the bottle when it was released, and we still have the bottle. I mean, it's obviously a different bottle, right? But we can still go through that experiment of tasting.
Yeah, but that should
and there are people who remember what it tastes
but that sort of relies on the way the product's being made now, being made exactly the same as it was then.
Correct.
And of course, we know with agave spirits, seasonal differentiate. You know,
Correct.
So it's never. And if the bottle is indeed changing over a 40-year period, let's say, it's kind of impossible to actually have a basis for comparison because you don't know how it was made at the you might know how it's made at the time, but any product made at that time is going to have evolved if indeed they are evolving. So what can you compare it to?
Well, no, having the experience of having had it when it was made and 40 years later.
Yeah, sure, but that's relying heavily on memory, right? And notes, you know. It's yes,
correct.
It get you so far. But anyway, I don't think it necessarily needs to be a bad thing. I mean, with mezcals I've had that have been put in glass for 10 years, and maybe you've had the same experience. What tends to happen in my experience is that they do move away from agave, but they tend to move in the direction of something really weird and interesting. Oftentimes it's fruit, or it could be berries, or it could be spice, or it could be floral notes that really start to come through. Now that's taking you further from cooked agave, but it's taking you further towards something that's radical, considering this came from an agave, you know? So
would there be a that would have to be a chemical change?
Yeah, sure. It's chemistry, yeah.
So that's another reason why if everything's regulated, we can go back. And for example, if you have the luxury to retest these things, see how everything's changing.
I think the only way you can really run that experiment is you make the product and you freeze it, right? You stick it in liquid nitrogen, and then you keep another version of that product in glass, and then 20 years later you defrost that one and you compare it to that one, because obviously the frozen one is going to stop or very much slow down the chemical reactions. Test them side by side, and then you've got that's scientific rigor there, I think, you know. But any other way of doing it, as far as I can think of,
well, someone should do that.
Someone should do that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't.
But we've got to start that now, right? I mean, we need to take some fresh samples.
Well, in the agave space in particular, you know, no one really collected agave. You drank it, you know. So I was always blown away coming to Europe and having people like Salvatore or Jake go, oh my God, I went on some site and bought a 300-year-old bottle of who knows what. And I go, in Mexico, you can't buy a 40-year-old bottle of tequila because everybody fucking drank it, right? It's gone.
Consumed. This is the problem with agave spirit. Someone's drinking it. No one's
Yeah.
putting it in a freezer.
Yeah. How do you put it in a freezer, drink it?
Right.
No, but no, for that same reason, I'm just trying to get distilleries to library things.
yeah.
Right? To try, right? And again, they go, well, why? Someone wants to buy it. Okay, that makes sense, but it's also cool to, I mean, if we could give a little bit more of a wine experience to the distilled or to the guest at the
Yeah.
distillery, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it gives it lends further credibility to a category of spirits that deserves all the credibility it can have thrown at it. Yeah.
Well, I was just happy to be here during London Tequila Week and meet consumers that, I mean, I'm a very intrusive person, so I was asking all these people that are consumers, like, why are you here? You know, and to hear a British person say, oh, I tried tequila, it was awful, and then I tried another tequila and it was really good, and just seeing a different side of the category.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the great things about the category now, and especially since mezcal is really having its time in the sun too, is I think more and more people, and this isn't just bar people, this is consumers in general, are getting, first of all, access to great products, but secondly, getting to explore the diversity within it as well, and realizing that, you know, it's probably the most diverse spirit category going, and there's probably something for everyone there. And not only that, but it is removing the preconception that most people have in this country that tequila is a rough spirit that you do shots of when you're 18 and then you never go back again, you know?
Oh, well, a lot of people don't realize that entry-level tequila that's naturally hydrolyzed is more expensive than entry-level single malt or cognac, right? And again, 80% of tequila is sold in 5 American states. So there's no, you know, in Mexico, there's not a biggest concern of showing a well-made product to everyone because a certain market buys almost all of it. So like, you know, my friends who have Scotch distilleries are so proud to say, Julio, I sell in 195 countries, every country in the world that allows the legal sale of alcohol. And you talk to a Mexican producer and they'll go, I sell in 2 countries, mine and yours, right? And which is cool, but under the present circumstance of the government in America that seems antagonistic towards everyone who's not maybe from there, maybe it's not so smart. But
Yeah.
but tequila producers and agave producers have been blessed by the proximity and the desire of Americans drinking their products.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think also especially with the sort of development of cocktail culture and bar culture over the last 25, 30 years in Europe and in Asia and Australia and basically everywhere, that the opportunity to sell great tequila is there all over the world now, you know? And yeah, you got the 2 big markets there, Mexico and America, but there's an appetite for great agave spirits now, you know? And so you're like, right, well, there's the whole world there. You know, let's put some attention on that and see if we can help with the education and the sampling and get the brand ambassadors and the sales reps and everything there, because people are getting really interested in it. And it's, you know, in the UK, it's let's be honest, it's still a relatively small following compared to some other spirits, but they love it. You know, they are really into it, because if you have any interest in agave spirits, you kind of have to go all in, because once you start to get the little knowledge and the taste and the appetite for it, you're like, right, I got to learn more, and then it's all encompassing, you know.
I think it's drinking that first bottle that gets you down the rabbit hole.
It really does. Yeah.
But I also, honestly, I'm a little blown away, like at the consumer portion yesterday and the day before at the tequila fair, of people coming to the Alto stand where I was at and going, oh yeah, I'll take a Tommy's, and they go, oh, this is delicious. And then that's been another avenue of people trying this and trying good things. And, you know, on the first day of the fair, I was making some Tommies with Altos Blanco, and for shits and giggles, I made other Altos Blanco with some Red Bull and gave them to the same guests, and they go, "Oh, this tastes very different." Only because it's different. And that's the point. You need to find the tequila that's good for you, right? In your, if you like cocktails, your cocktail. So
let's talk about the Tommy's Margarita. You've mentioned it a couple of times. Of course, if you're in Tommy's, it's just the Margarita.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So how did it come about?
Oh no, it was an evolutionary process of through education, right? Learning first about 100% agave, so switching out the mixto for 100% agave. In that case, Herradura Blanco Suave was our well for 23 years. And that decision that I made and those decisions that I would make in the future were never about price. It was always about quality. And so, yeah, we're serving Herradura. And then, as we know with the cycle of agave, every 7, well, now with global warming, and maybe every 6 years or 5 years, but we used to say every 7 or 8 years, we experienced a glut of agave production or a shortage of agave production. And as you know, when there's a glut, everybody makes secondary and tertiary brands of tequila, and you start seeing flavored tequilas and people making uses of agave that are different. And when there are shortages, well, the market pulls back, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, in one such agave boom in terms of production or glut, the health food industry, where a lot of it was centered in Northern California, started adopting the agave as a sugar source, right? And it was like, I mean, peanut butters and jellies and packaged teas. And again, back then, you know, health food and organic products, I thought they were a total scam. I thought, oh my God, this is just a way to charge people 3 times the same amount for the same things. And obviously that wasn't the case. But again, someone went to Tommy's, presented agave sugar or agave fructose and said, hey, this is, but you know, this is a sugar, this is low glycemic, this is things that I, again, also don't really have a full understanding of. And agave fructose was really expensive. And there's only like literally 1 or maybe 2 companies making it. So it was interesting that the health food industry, and I remember there was this company called Smuckers, and Smuckers makes peanut butter and jelly, which is, I don't know if it's big here, but
it's not as big as America, that's for sure. But people are aware of it, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
The peanut butter and jelly sandwich is like a
I love
gourmet item.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah.
But Smuckers was considering going from, they had originally used sugar, then high fructose corn syrup, but then going to agave for this segment of the marketplace. And they didn't because there weren't enough producers and they were scared. You know, if there's only 1 or 2, you're at the hands of maybe just 2 people, and it's a dangerous position to be in. But anyway, I tried it and I go, 1 and 1 is like 10. This makes absolute sense. If we can use a sweetener that is from a similar plant, because that'll really allow this cocktail to taste of that.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. Because I remember, and I've told this story 1,000 times, but I went to one of my first liquor fairs in San Francisco, and so I had my little badge. It says Julio and Tommy's Mexican. And I'm walking around a famous French orange liqueur producer.
Right.
And that guy goes, hey, Julio from Tommy's. Hey, come over here. Do you guys make margaritas at Tommy's? And I go, yes, of course. Well, if you use our fancy French orange liqueur, you can use the cheapest tequila you want, and your margarita is going to taste of our fancy French orange liqueur. And I stopped and I go, oh, but I want our margaritas to taste of tequila.
It's literally the opposite of the sales pitch you want, right?
Exactly. But he was astounded that there was a human being that wanted a margarita to taste like tequila.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy.
I mean, it's a different time, I guess, but it's hard to sort of think of why people would be wanting to order margaritas, but then not taste the tequila. I don't understand it.
No, but remember, the whole creation of the top shelf margarita was never based on the principal ingredient. It was based on
Fancy
the
French
triple
liqueur and the
yeah.
yeah.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, unfortunately, the recipe that I created made a lot of enemies with certain companies.
Well, I shouldn't think the orange liqueur manufacturers were knocking down your door anymore.
No. We lost some work with some people when they bought fancy French orange liqueurs.
Oh, really? I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. But I mean, hey.
Oh, can I drink this?
Sure. Of course. That's your water. Yeah. Sorry. I should have made that more
you.
clear. God, we're like an hour and a half in and you're probably thirsty. So, and then I guess...
but yeah, so the Tommy's, it's evolutionary. So the first step is learning about tequila and then changing from mixto to 100% agave. Then the introduction of agave syrup and adopting.
So did that literally happen step by step? Like not all, was the drink created all in one go? Or was it sort of, right, we're 100% agave margarita. Now let's lose the orange liqueur and put agave syrup in there. And then, because it's served on the rocks as well. So when did that bit happen?
Yeah, well, that was a huge change as well, because the reason we never used a shaker at Tommy's was 99% of all the margaritas we made were blended. That's what people did.
Of course.
And then when we start using 100% agave and making them on the rocks, you could taste them, and they would also, the problem with making a cocktail that's blended, that has a large proportion of alcohol, because the recipe was always 2 ounces, right? Is that the frozen drink is wilting at an incredibly fast rate. So in order to make it kind of last longer, it was just a little bit more logical to just serve it on the rocks. But that was a crazy thing, because people were, no, margarita's frozen and with a lot of salt and a lot of crap and a lot of this. So
yeah, no, well, it's remarkable how the drink, how well the drink has gone around. I mean, most people I know in the trade now, if they're ordering a margarita, they're ordering a Tommy's. Like
it makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Yeah.
If you want to taste the tequila.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I mean it's a tequila sour, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tequila daisy or
tequila daisy, yeah. But and it seems so obvious, like if you want to taste the agave, but I guess you need a good agave spirit in the first place that you don't want to cover up.
Let's hope.
You know, right?
Well, so that's why I have a little bit of a contention with some famous bars or whatever, even neighborhood bars that never tell you the brand of product they use in their signature drink list or whatever, right? I mean, why are they? There are a myriad of reasons, but I'd prefer to know as a paying guest. Back to what I'm putting in my body, you should tell me, right? And you should be proud to serve whatever you. I have another contention with just bars that are paid to serve things, right?
Sure.
Because whatever. I mean, again, I'm running a business too. And I'm trying to make money as well. But I would ideally like to be able to stand behind everything I'm pouring. So.
And then I suppose the other thing about the Tommy's is fresh lime juice. That I guess was quite rare around that time. It was sour mix, right? So it's probably revolutionary even, putting fresh juice into a cocktail.
That's what got Tony Abou-Ganim to come to Tommy's.
Right.
Right? I mean, someone told him, they actually make drinks with fresh juice. And it was weird. I remember also hosting a celebrity chef, and this guy comes in, and I mean, a little bit of a big shot, and he's going, well, I want my margarita made like this, like this, like this, like this. And he's never been there before, right? So he's telling me what to do, and I go, that's how we make them. I mean, and then when he actually saw it, he was like, no, because everybody in the world says they use fresh juice, and they go like this. Oh, I go, hey, brother, what's that? Oh, that's fresh juice. Oh, interesting. At my bar, the juice comes from the fruit into the drink, into your mouth within like 1 to 2 minutes. And we call that fresh.
Yeah.
This we call different. Different may be good for you, but it's not fresh, fresher, freshest. It's fresh or it's different. And fresh is like pregnant. You are.
Or you aren't.
It's not I'm a little pregnant. I'm a little fresh. No.
I love that. I love that. You mentioned Tom Estes before. What's your memories of Tom?
Oh
Obviously,
my God.
sadly, dearly missed and
Yeah.
sadly lost. And I got to know Tom reasonably well and traveled with him a bit around the world. Yeah, when did you first meet him?
Okay, I can't remember the year, but I do remember the exact experience. It was a Sunday night, and we're cleaning. I mean, we typically at our venue. Prior to the pandemic, we used to close at 11 o'clock at night, and on Sundays we close at about 10:15 because it just dies off early. But anyway, so we're cleaning. I got the bar stools up. I got guys are vacuuming, and let's get the hell out of there. It's been a long week. And this guy comes in, okay, and he comes to the bar, and this sounds derogatory, but it's not meant to be that way. But this guy looked like a homeless guy from the street. His all raggedy jeans and a raggedy jean jacket, and not that he was unkept, but he looked a little raggedy. And I go, "Sir, we're closed. I got no more food. I can maybe get you some chips, like get the fuck out of here, right?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm looking for Julio Bermejo." And I go, "Okay, how can I help you?" And he goes, "I'm Tom Estes." I go, "Shit. Oh my God. Very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. I mean, I'm sorry we're closed. How can I help you? What's going on?" He was catching like a 7 a.m. flight. And so he had gone to San Francisco, was going to spend the night at the airport and catch his flight to Mexico. And I go, "What? No. Come stay at our house. I mean, I don't know you, but I've heard of you. And I mean, I know of you." And then we hit it off. So
is this 90s?
it had to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was really, I mean, because I'd heard of him.
Yeah.
And I've heard of the venues, but I didn't again go to Europe for, until 1987 was the first time I visited Europe. But I visited as a backpacker in 30 countries and
because he opened his first restaurant late 80s, early 90s.
76.
So was it 76?
Yeah, it was a 50th anniversary.
That's of course they just had it, didn't they? Yeah, they just had it. Yeah.
And we were here for that.
Yeah. Because it was the first one in Amsterdam, I think. Was it?
Well, it was like the first Mexican restaurant to also have tequila. As a little bit of a focus. Now, granted, the selection was different and whatever, but yeah, it was a huge deal.
Yeah,
huge deal.
I mean, it was always. I've always heard it was the first Mexican restaurant in Europe. I mean, it's plausible. I don't know.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I'm not, and oh my, he's obviously had a storied life, and he was really great that he would catalog things, and I mean that's almost my downfall. I don't take pictures. I don't write shit down. I have a lot of it here, and I, at my guest shift at Side Hustle, this guy's looking at me, and I'm like, "How can I help you, sir?" And he goes, "You don't remember?" I mean, remember what? I mean, can you please, throw me a fucking bone here? And he goes, "Oh, I met you, 5 years ago at your restaurant." Okay. I mean, and he showed me a picture and he's with me and I'm like, "Oh man, thank you so much for coming." But it was a little difficult for me to, remember that exact experience 5 years ago. And
I know that feeling. Yeah, for sure. So Tommy's it's a family-owned business. Is your mother still involved?
Oh yeah, the boss, La Jefa. Yeah, she's 92.
Wow.
Yeah, 92, and she doesn't go every day. She kind of goes according to the weather. If it's not cold, she'll go, and it's nice. And we love when she goes because she loves the guests and stuff like that. But we're mom and pop, and you cannot get more mom and pop. My sisters work there. I work there. Our team has been with us for years, and it's kitschy in I think a nice way. I used to say that I had never been to restaurants in my life where I saw more people get hugged and kissed. But luckily, my dear friends have been taking me to places that are like fucking the Tommies of Italy or the Tommies of London. And it warms my heart because I think hospitality is an endearing, special thing that is evaporating. And as we move towards a society where people don't want to talk to each other or interact, it's really special. And the trust that, again, you give the new place that you go to serve you and again give you things you put in your body is a privilege that is the second most intimate privilege in the world, and people should take that very seriously.
Yeah, it's true. It's like hospitality is this weird thing. I don't remember who it was that said, but you only know what it is when you're actually receiving it, you know, and you
Yep.
actually feel someone is welcoming you into a place. And I think it's at its best when it feels like you're at a friend's house, you know.
Oh.
And, you know, it's like you're a paying customer, sure, but actually there's the warmth there of friendship.
And I always say it's so, I mean, obviously it's not, but I think it's easier to give service at the 3-star Michelin restaurant than at your usual bar or restaurant. Because when you go to the Michelin 3-star restaurant, people will kiss your ass and say the right things and be on their best behavior. When you go to your usual spot, you know if your bartender got laid, to girlfriend broke up or boyfriend broke up or couldn't pay his taxes, he's stressed out of his mind, or shit happens. But that's also special in and of itself. Obviously, it's a professional setting and you're paying for a level of service. But I think the human element is what we need.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's connection, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I go, I can make a meal, I can make a drink. But if Salvatore Calabrese makes my drink, pay £1,000 for that experience, right?
With some vintage spirits in there, probably.
Fuck. Can't
You
afford
should
it,
you should sell him some old tequila. I'd buy that off you.
Well, he's very lucky. I've given him
All right, okay.
plenty of
Well, he's probably made a lot of money out of that.
No. I hope I've also been a guest at his home where he's opened up vintage things.
I know he's a sweetheart. He's been on the show, and yeah, he's a good guy.
He's amazing.
When I recorded with him, he made me a vintage Vespa shortly afterwards, with it was Kina Lille, and then I think it was vodka and gin, both from the 50s or 60s. Yeah,
pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I do love that whole kind of like tasting history thing. It's like time travel. I mean, cocktails are like that in many ways anyway. You're sort of tasting a drink of that time when it was invented, you know?
Yeah. Well, I say agave has a great benefit because we can talk about at least 2 periods of time, right? When you're serving this in whatever time frame, and then depending on the kind of agave, when that agave was planted.
Yeah, time it took to grow. Yeah.
So
yeah, they're all aged spirits, really, aren't they?
Yeah,
even
correct.
the black yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and some of them are very long living. I know it's not regulated, but do you want to try some Tequila?
Sure.
Yeah? Shall I get you another glass?
Yes, please,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. The Chato's delicious.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, my understanding was that up until mid 20th century, or maybe a little bit before, there was more than blue agave being used to make tequila, right?
Oh yeah, Criollo and Bermejo.
And Bermejo. Is that an agave?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Huh.
Oh, okay. Remind me, the amazing people at Tequila Tanasio made a batch. Renee, yeah, made a batch of agave Bermejo for me.
No way.
So I'll get you a bottle.
Yeah, cool. What's Bermejo agave like? What sort of spirit does it produce?
Different shape,
Okay.
for sure. Now,
But is it along the lines of blue agave?
Yeah.
Okay, fascinating. Yeah. But yeah, Chateau I think was one of the agaves previously used for tequila as well, which is why they're making it caballito. Have you been here, Chocola?
No.
Oh
not.
God, that's
Where are they located?
southern Jalisco, right around Colima volcano.
Okay.
So you know this area where they're thinking about creating a new DO called Tuxca.
Yeah.
Though these guys,
yeah.
I think, so then it would have its own kind of DO, if you like. But I think the Partida family who make this, I think they're somewhat against it because their argument is that Tuxca, although it is a historic style of agave spirit, it was only called that when it arrived in Colima in reference to coming from southern Jalisco. And in southern Jalisco, it was never referred to as Tuxca. And so they don't want it to be called, they don't want to be part of that. But this is like, you know, traditional Filipino wooden stills and pit roasting, fermented in, I don't remember if they ferment in pits or what it's fermented in, but anyway, very small production. I think they only produce about 5,000 bottles a year. It's hardly anything. And this is Broca, which is an angustifolia. They wait for the agave to flower, they cap on it, and then they wait a further 3 years before they harvest it. So that the starches kind of gather and sit there in the agave for 3 years. It's insane. And I mean, some of these agaves are,
Why doesn't it dry out if you've killed the plant?
well, I mean, you're not killing the plant, you're not uprooting it, you're just chopping the quiote off. Yeah. So it just sits there and stews a little bit, and then.
So how do these people make money?
Well, it's not cheap.
Less than that. Stop. No.
It's not cheap. I mean, this is like, I guess, it's the best part of £100 a bottle. But yeah, I believe 5, 6, 7,000 bottles a year, not many. And yeah, some of them are really long-lived agaves.
Wow.
That is quite a lot, isn't it? Cheers.
You're having a good
For this time in the
You're
morning.
not working?
Oh, it's not morning anymore.
Oh. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, the nose is remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that's... Go on.
What's the ABV?
I don't know. But whatever it comes off the still at. See, that one's actually got a little bit of smoke on it, which most of their products don't. But that one's just slightly smoky. It's not smoky like some, Oaxacan mezcals, but it's a little bit there, right? But I think it's the mouthfeel of these products, that all of the products they make, there's something energized about it.
It's very high acid.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's also, I'm getting some sort of lactic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bit from the fermentation, yeah. I actually don't think I've had this one before, this particular agave from them, but the smokiness is there.
Very delicious.
They do a cimarron, which is just remarkable. It's one of my favorite agaves where it's full stop. Yeah.
Can you get Chocolo in England?
Not in England, no, which is why I brought it back. You can get it in the States. Is it heavy metal? Heavy metal, the importer?
Don't know.
Heavy metal? Heavy metal.
Oh, heavy metal.
Yeah, metal. Yes. Who's bringing like Grey Campero, and they bring in that as well into the US. But we can't get it in the UK, no. I mean, like I say, 5, 6, 7,000 bottles a year. There's not a lot to go around, Yeah. So how often are you down in Mexico these days? Do you visit much?
Well, I used to go every 3 weeks. Now it's been a little bit of a problem, but for economics. I mean, flights are really expensive, and that's been my impedance on going down. But I like to go every 3 weeks. My wife lives in Arandas, right? So I'm back and forth to see her. But this year has been a little bit of a challenge because everything is out of whack because of the war, this and that. And I mean, I'm having an interesting financial time. So, but if not, I'd be there every 3 weeks.
And that's usually spent visiting producers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the same people. Again, going back to, the agave business is so fascinating because you get these boom cycles and shortages and whatever. But again, when you look at a longer period of time, it's kind of the same people doing good work, right? The willingness of new people to do good work only happens when, it seems, in tequila, when the raw material is cheap. And then again, when people get stressed, you cut corners and this and that. And that's a little bit of a problem for me for the same reason of why we don't carry contracted products. So we have this example. And again, I went to the University of California at Berkeley. I'm not a communist. I'm a capitalist. I'm trying to make money. I'd like to live better than I live. But, when you're selling products based on flavor profiles that are specific to, say, families or whatever, distilleries, it is hard to sell. Like, I have a brand that was really good, and I have 4 expressions of it, and the bottles and labels look pretty much the same, and they're all good. But because they were made at 4 different distilleries, because the brand owner owns a piece of paper and not the means of production.
Yeah.
If you come to Tommy's and had this particular product 30 years ago, and you had a good or bad memory, whatever, you come back 3 years later and you go, oh, Julio recommended XYZ, give me an XYZ. And they pour it for you and you go, oh, that's good, but it doesn't remind me anything of my experience.
Yeah.
And to me, that memory, the ratatouille experience of
The nostalgia, yeah, taking
Exactly.
you back, yeah.
means a great deal, and it's embedded in my mind. But anyway, so you go back to Tommy's another 3 years later, you ask for the same thing and it tastes different again. That's what a contracted product is. And there is, in the tequila space, I don't know about any other space, but in the tequila space, there's never been a contracted tequila that's ever stayed with its original producer for the entire life of the company.
They do tend to move around, don't they? Yeah. And that's, the brand stays the same and the liquid changes. Yeah.
You bet. And I found that out the hard way. I found out. So one day, this guest comes to Tommy's and he's sitting at a table at a booth, and he goes, I would like a glass of XYZ Añejo. And I can tell you the brand, I just prefer to be more neutral. So this gentleman asked for XYZ Añejo. I go and I pour it and I give it to the server. Server delivers it. It comes back to me at the bar, and this gentleman says he didn't receive XYZ Añejo. Okay, so I go to the table with a different glass, a clean glass, this XYZ Añejo. I pour it in front of him, and I serve it to him, and he goes, that's not XYZ Añejo. Okay. We're at Tommy's. I run upstairs. I get a sealed bottle of XYZ Añejo. Have another glass, open in front of the guest, pour into the glass, serve the guest. Oh, that's not the XYZ Añejo I know. Okay. I now think you're crazy. Because that was my first ever experience of this happening to me. And I go, oh, well, sir, I obviously didn't say that, but I go, okay, I'm sorry, sir.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah. I don't know what to do, right? Okay. Then I go on a distillery trip, and I was at a particular distillery, and they have a pallet of XYZ Añejo. And I go, you guys make XYZ Añejo? And they go, we have, not always. And I'm like, okay, there's something going on. So then, what I should have done is call the importer and go, hey, who makes this? And I literally, the hard way, found out, oh, this is contracted, and there are several people that make it. So I asked the guest, do you know the NOM number of who made your XYZ? And he goes, what are you talking about? And then I started noticing, oh, there are different NOM numbers on XYZ Añejo. Issue.
Yeah, it's a problem, right?
I think it is a problem.
Which is, Tequila Matchmaker course is a great resource for this, because you can go on any brand and you can see what nom it's associated, what it's been associated with in the past.
But that changes as well with the contractor.
Sure. Yeah,
so it's not always accurate.
Yeah.
And
and you've got the problem of tequila being traded like in between noms, right? And
Correct.
so you never really
Absolutely.
know where, especially with bigger brands and especially with contract distillers, you never really know where the products come from.
Exactly.
Yeah. That traceability is a bit of an issue, I feel, in tequila.
But that's now happening in this, because the 99% of, not unregulated agave spirits, but, the policy of being distillery owned and operated, or in products that we carry,
yeah.
it's almost impossible in mezcal. Because many mezcal producers don't export or can't or don't know how or blah, 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 blah. And even big branded mezcal, you've seen significant changes. Again,
Yeah.
not because they're changing it, but they just buy it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's an issue for me.
Yeah. I agree. You mentioned your wife works in Arandas.
She does.
What does she do for a living?
My wife is one of the owners of Tequila Tapatio, a company that was formed in 1937, and they're the producers of Tequila Tapatio, of El Tesoro. They were the home of Ocho until Carlos built his own distillery and moved that. And but it's so weird because I fell in love with Tapatio before I fell in love with my wife. And it was just a mind-blowing flavor experience for me. So,
Sorry, the Tapatio or the wife?
both. Both, but the tequila was first. And actually, let me go on the record and say, my wife was a mind-blowing experience for me, but I was not the same for her. I asked my wife out on dates for 13 years
Oh my God.
in a row before she accepted. So if anything, I may be stupid and born last night, but I'm persistent.
You're persistent,
Yeah.
but not
Unless
with
you
not
kill
with
me.
the dancing.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, I got a sensitive ego.
So what's it like, being sort of married into like one of the great families of tequila, Camarenas?
Well, obviously I love my wife, and I think they have a great business, and it's really been admirable how they've respected the traditions of their father and their grandfather. We saw this generational growth of tequila and exponential commercial growth was, God bless, man. If you make tequila, it's really nice that you kind of made out or you became very successful. But it was, again, also admirable for me to have people not chase money, and do great work and be rewarded for it. It's really cool. I'm very, very proud that at Tommy's, we don't sell what's popular. We sell what's well made from everyone. There's no, as much as I love my wife and as much as I love her product, and I do say that is my favorite tequila, but I'm obviously biased. It doesn't get rammed down your throat at Tommy's. No one does. If you come in as a novice tequila drinker and you go, and it's not overwhelmingly busy, and you say, I don't know anything about tequila, I grab a Highland and Valley Blanco and I tell you, shake, tell me which one you prefer. I'll show you 3 more like that. Then talk to me. I don't want to recommend anything. I don't want, you have the best gas chromatograph in the world for you. Make the decision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but luckily, because they make great products and their whole family makes great products, they sell well. So, but it's, I feel blessed too.
So Tommy's is 60 years old. What do you think the next 60 years holds for the restaurant? What about the next generation? Who's coming up?
Well, so I'm really proud and happy that my nephew Henry has liked the bar and has liked the industry experience. So, you never know. And, like we talked about earlier, I hated working at our restaurant and was embarrassed and all these things and blah, blah, blah. My nephew Enrique has really enjoyed it, and he seems he's really good at it. And more importantly, he's incredibly welcoming and hospitable. But so last year for the 60th, I really wanted to celebrate the restaurant. Our business since the pandemic has been tough. We're only open 3 hours a day. And even though I am next to the 3rd most expensive neighborhood in San Francisco, and I think some of our guests are so blessed they can buy $10 million paintings, people don't go out to dinner a lot. They'll do takeout, but the margin isn't the same, right?
So you're only open 3 hours a day.
We're open 3 hours a day. We're open from 5 to 8:30.
Wow.
Um,
And that's just because there's not enough trade either
not
side
enough
of
trade.
Really?
So I can no longer guarantee full employment for my team. So my team has 3 jobs, right? And actually, most people in San Francisco have 2 jobs if you're in service, at least. But we're not saving a lot. We're not losing money, but we're just not saving money. But I think this is temporary. I think, since the pandemic, we've seen, obviously, like the global drinking trends of people drinking less. But in the Bay Area, it seems like people under 40 prefer smoking marijuana,
Yeah.
eating mushrooms,
Yeah.
than drinking.
Yeah.
I think it's temporary. But so we're in a tough time for us.
Marijuana and mushrooms are cheaper is part of the reason why,
Yeah. And so we're very blessed that we do own our building. So we can ride things out.
Weather it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Right. But it's no fun not making money
Yeah.
or subsiding.
It is heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as I told you before we started, I've had a few bars and quite a few of them have closed because they never really made any money. And it's hard when you're putting so much effort into a place, and yet at the end of the month you're like, yeah, we just about scraped through,
Yep.
Yeah.
But we're hoping again this is maybe temporary, and actually, the blessing and curse of being in a place for so long. I remember as a little boy when Jimmy Carter was our president, we did no trade during the week and we crushed it during the weekend, right? So it was kind of, you made out, right? Not that much, but you made it. And then times changed and times were good. So again, no complaints. We're just still very grateful. But anyway, so last year I really wanted to celebrate the restaurant for 60 years. So I made this stupid proposal to myself. I'm going to do 60 pop-ups, but globally. So we went to the Caribbean, to Africa, to Asia, to Europe, to Mexico, I did 60 pop-ups in 20 plus countries.
Oh my God.
And it was brutal, but I took
was, yeah.
I took my nephew with me to Africa and to some other places, and he really liked it. And he was great. And it was kind of nice. When I do a pop-up, I still try to squeeze fresh on demand. And, I'm 61 years old. Shit. I get tired, man. I was exhausted last night. And luckily he's younger, so stronger. And, he wasn't tired, and I can have him squeeze while I just, fucking throw the drink and at least still look good. No, or trying.
60 pop-ups in a year. So, okay, that is exhausting. Have you ever thought about, I this probably goes beyond the limits of my research. You've never had a second outlet.
No. Well, I opened up another venue that had some moderate success, and that did. I've helped open up restaurants in Las Vegas and consulted around the world. And
so, but never another Tommy's.
No.
Because there can be only one, like it's Highlander. You got to be just the one, or
I used to be in love with the tagline of the Mirage in Las Vegas. One location worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, Tristan, if I had a dream, it would be to make tequila. So.
Well, if only you knew someone who made tequila, right? I think many people, including your wife, right? But so what? So have you ever bottled at Tommy's? You must have done bottlings, right? Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. So, but would you like to have a distillery?
We've been trying to build one.
Right. Okay. Can you divulge any more information around this? Or
I'm just broke. So.
Right. So we're looking for
proof that you're
looking
building
for investors.
No. The only investor is my wife.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but we're going at our own pace, and I hope it happens. We're almost there.
Okay, that's exciting.
I can say for the record that my pot stills work every single day at Tapatio.
There you go.
So.
Oh well, that's cool. Yeah. So that would be a lovely next phase of this incredible journey you've been on.
I hope so.
think.
I
Yeah.
hope so. I mean, I'd like to be, honestly, I'd like to contribute more than just making a drink and being a good host, I hope. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for many of us, you've already contributed more than your share, but what you have contributed is so valuable in your knowledge, your passion for it, your education that you've given so many people, and the people you've educated who have then educated other people should not be underestimated.
thank you.
And the
kind.
drink, of course, is fantastic. But I think you're a lot more than that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
On the contrary.
Really appreciate spending some time with you.
Can I thank Altos as well?
Sure.
Yeah, it's again, to make it sounds like a bullshit statement. Selling things that are well made is just really cool because, again, there's, you can be a great salesman and sell people shit all day, but when you sell well made things, they sell themselves. So it almost makes your life easy, right?
Yep.
And we sell Altos and it's delicious. And
Oh, well, shout out to Altos. They just took me to Mexico for a week, so I'm in love with those guys as well at the moment.
oh, in love with Dre Masso and the whole team.
Of course, everyone's in love with Dre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Julio Bermejo, thanks so much.
Tristan, my pleasure. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast. And I'm at your service.
Cool.
And please come back to Mexico.
Will do. I'll be coming back to San Francisco as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.